Seen the man. Seen the man.
You seen the man?
The big man, the big man.
The big man. Well, how big was he?
Counting or not counting the fin?
Counting the fin.
Counting and not counting the fin. You better go home and get the plate.
Man, boss fin, man. Boss fin. Lights coming out of it, steam smoking all out of his feet, man. He got a girl with him. He got a knife. He got a knife, man. Ain't no good gonna come out of this, man. Bad news, bad news. He got a knife.
He's got a knife?
Yeah, a knife.
Show me where.
Right.
Where is it? Oh, man. Not again. Freeze! Miami Vice!
Vice of Miami podcast, season 5, we're back at last. With Mark and Tim on the mic, they're bringing heat, they're bringing hype. Guest stars rolling through, oh what a ride. Deep dives in music, let the rhythm guide. Dropping facts and stories you won't believe.
Welcome to the Vice of Miami podcast. I'm your host, Tim, alongside my co-host, Mark, and we're thrilled to take you on a journey through the iconic 80s series, Miami Vice. Each episode, we delve into the gripping world of Detective Sonny Crockett and Rico Tubbs and the Vice team, reviewing every episode and uncovering the dark storylines, unforgettable guest stars, and the electrifying music that turned Miami Vice into a cult classic. From trivia and fun facts to the occasional goof, we're here to provide a fresh and engaging perspective, whether you're a longtime fan or new to the series. So sit back, relax, grab your favorite beverage, and join us on show number 103 as we explore Season 5, Episode 7, Asian Cut.
Tim, this episode is written by Robert Ward. The teleplay is by Peter McCabe, directed by James Contner. The original air date, January 13th, 1989. This is the 97th episode overall. The production code is 63909-97. And our plot, Trudy acts as bait to catch a sadistic serial killer specializing in knives. All right, let's focus on one of our guest stars. We've got David Schramm. He portrays Professor Eric Hollowell in this episode. David was born August 14th, 1946 in Louisville, Kentucky. David is perhaps best known for his role as Roy Biggins in the 1990 to 97 TV series Wings. And he also appeared on stage in several productions up through 2015. In 1976, his first TV appearance was in The Time of Your Life, which was a TV movie. His first movie was in 1989, Let It Ride. His last movie was 1996, Big Packages, and his last TV role was the animated series Hercules in 1998. Schramm passed away on March 28th, 2020 in New York City from a heart attack at the age of 73. Following up the rest of our guest stars, we've got Cary Hiroyuki Tagawa as Toguro, Russell Horton as Stuart Whitley, Steve Ryan as Mr. Dyson, Alfredo Alvarez Calderon as Carlos Escobar, and Julian Brahms as Sandy Dyson.
Our co-stars are W. Paul Bodie as a pimp, Kim Faze as Monica, Steve Gladstone as the motel owner, Carolyn Hurlbert as Shell Stone, Randy Ingerman as Angela, Anthony R. Jones as Lester, Spider Martin as Otis, and Stephen Neal as the Sergeant.
Checking out everything Miami Vice in the news. Tim, what do you got for us?
I found that Edward James Olmos is going to appear in the Netflix movie Office Romance that stars Jennifer Lopez, which is set for a release sometime in 2026.
Yeah, definitely a chick flick. Probably have to watch it with the wife. Okay, let's get right into the discussion for Asian Cut. We start out with our opening scene. We see mingling partygoers, and a guy with a camera takes pictures of an Asian guy. A call girl here named Angela Nelson is talking with a young girl named Sandy. She tells her to connect with Madam Cheryl Stone to get some work. Another guy enters the club looking for Sandy. Is it his boyfriend, her boyfriend? Who knows what's going on? Another guy in glasses calls Angela on the phone. Meanwhile, outside this club, which was called the Razor's Edge, by the way, Crockett and Tubbs are on surveillance, and Trudy is inside on hooker detail, all dolled up. Trudy gets roughed up by a pimp, and Crockett and Tubbs intervene. Then a drunk comes up, as you heard in our opening here, asks Crockett and Tubbs if they saw a big guy who had a knife. So anyway, they drag Crockett and Tubbs down the alleyway into a doorway, and the drunk shows them where he saw this guy, and they find this dead hooker who was pretty much all carved up.
So now we're at OCB, and Crockett and Tubbs inform Marty that the drunk was no help with further information. Gina comes in, identifies the dead woman as Angela Nelson, who had a record for hooking. Marty wants to know who the pimp is. Homicide told Marty this is the fourth dead call girl who was tortured and killed, most likely because the vagrant saw the offender, so he had to wipe her out. Marty wants to know if this is a turf war. He tells Tubbs and Trudy to get back on the streets, and then when they leave the office, he shows Crockett's the cuts on Angela, and he said it could be Thai or Japanese. He tells Crockett to check with the Justice Department for further information. Next, we see Crockett leaving the Justice Center, and a photographer named Stuart Whitley from a dirt rag newspaper asks Crockett for info on the dead Angela. Crockett warns him not to interfere in this case.
So now we're at some college somewhere. Marty here pays a visit to a professor named Eric Hallowell about the Asian cuts. These images on these arms and necks and whatever. The professor's interested, tells him they're definitely Japanese in origin. He grabs a book and kind of matches them up. One mark was used in ancient rituals associated with the storm goddess Susano, where the victim was allowed to bleed out slowly as part of purification. The lunar mark, which is part of Japanese crest, would be further investigated by a professor. So it sounds like they have a good kind of rapport, or at least Castillo knows that this guy knows his stuff. So this guy's going to take it and run, see what he could find out. So back at OCB, Crockett and Tubbs are introduced to the father of Sandy, a runaway. He tells them she's missing, and he also tells them she was with Angela Nelson at the Razor's Edge nightclub. Sandy's only 18 and went missing after a summer camp. I think it was a year prior, maybe 6 months or something, if I'm correct. But
yes, something like that.
So she's 18. She's on her own. She's old enough. She's an adult. You can't really say she's missing and part of an adult or something, but still, she was missing when she was younger. So kind of goes into play here. So anyway, Trudy takes his statement, and then Tubbs gets a call from Gina, who gives him info on the pimp named Lester Cook. We got Tubbs and Switek going to pay him a visit.
So now we move to beach scene, and we find Tubbs and Stan paying a visit to Lester, who was the pimp for Angela. They inferred he killed Angela because she jumped ship to Cheryl Stone. They end up finding coke and PCP on him and threaten him with jail time. In order to avoid that, he tells them about a Japanese coke dealer named Tagoro, who is a bad news guy with a penchant for cutting with knives.
Hey, Lester. Yeah, wait till you see my car.
It's all right, honey.
Gee, sorry, Les.
Come on in up here. Listen, Les, you been hiding on us? We figure one of your girls gets killed, you come see us.
What, you think I did it, man? She was my money chick. Now, why the hell would I want to kill her?
Maybe she wanted to be traded to another team, and her manager lost his temper.
No way, man.
Cocaine, PCP. Listen, Les, we've been doing a little checking. You understand there's a couple of boys you burned just waiting for your triumphant return to County Cut. Now, we can take you there right now if you want to.
Hey, man, get real, all right?
Tell us something.
Okay, man, look. The chick went with this Japanese dude, big dope dealer. His name's Tagoro. He's a sick guy, man. Bad news, you dig? Uses a knife. Yeah, but you never heard it from me, all right?
Get out of here.
Before you continue, Tim, this scene, what movie does it remind you of?
Oh, I can't think right now, Mark.
Eddie Murphy, Nick Nolte.
Oh, 48 Hours.
Remember
What a
when
great
Luther was running and Eddie Murphy opens up the door? Bam!
Bam!
Luther, did I hurt you?
Such a great movie. Later, Trudy is back on the streets and cops come up to break up Hooker Row. Trudy and Sandy duck out and Trudy introduces herself as Cookie. Sandy tells Trudy she ran away from home because her dad molested her. She knows he is looking for her. She takes a cup of coffee from Trudy and then she just takes off.
And now Crockett and Tubbs here are visiting Tokoro at his place. I think he's got some art being set up or something like that. Shows him the cuts on Angela, photos of Angela. Crockett asks if he did this, and Tokoro here denies doing it while he's directing these people where to put these art pieces and all. He says he was at the Eraser's Edge nightclub the night she was killed. Crockett wants to jail him, hand him over to all the dads whose girls he turned out, but they really get nowhere. I think Crockett even dumps something, one of the sculptures or something like that to get his attention.
Yes, he did.
But it's kind of like dead end. They didn't really get anywhere, so they end up leaving. So now we're at Sandy's apartment. She's making a phone call, presumably to a man. She agrees to meet this guy, got the appointment going on at an unknown location. So she arrives at this location, enters, a camera flashes, pretty much blinding her as she is grabbed from behind by an unknown assailant. And Tim, even Ray Charles would have told Stevie Wonder, watch what happens next. I mean, this was so, we knew it was going to happen, right? Type of thing.
Predictable, yes.
So predictable. It's like she hears this stuff going on, but yeah, I'm going to go to a dark place and I don't know. I'm not a call girl, so I don't get into that stuff. So I guess it happens. Yeah. Tim?
So now the next morning, the OCB team is on the scene of this unknown location where Sandy is found dead. And it was unclear how they even knew about this, but they were there. Mr. Dyson is shown his daughter's body for identification purposes. Marty tells Tubbs to go to Sandy's place and leave Dyson with Gina. A P.O. Trudy voices that her dad is not father of the year, making an innuendo that he forced himself on his daughter. Later, Tubbs arrives at Sandy's to find Mr. Dyson lamenting over his daughter's death. Tubbs makes a caustic remark about how he treated his daughter. He tells him that Trudy spoke with her just before death and told Trudy about her father's escapades. He tells Tubbs he went through therapy and wanted to prove to Sandy he was a different man. Tubbs finds her diary with an entry about Sandy meeting with Cheryl Stone as her way to success in this business. Tubbs leaves with the diary.
So now we find Tubbs and Gina paying a visit to Cheryl at her office. And when they ask, she initially denies knowing anything about Sandy until Tubbs shows her the diary. She still denies it until Gina threatens some prosecution on her. So that kind of piqued her interest, right? Oh, now we remember. Cheryl admits that Sandy started a few days prior and had only one client named Carlos, who's a regular for Cheryl's service. Angela was also one of her girls.
Hi, may I help you? Hey, you can go in there. This is a legitimate escort service. How dare you walk in here like this? Just who the hell do you think you are?
Cheryl, allow me to be direct and straightforward. What we are vice cops. With your checkered record, we could shut you down right now.
There's a girl named Sandy Dyson. We know she was one of your escort girls. We want to look at her date list.
Sandy Dyson. Doesn't ring any bells.
Oh, yeah. Is that right? Well, that's not what she says right here in her diary.
Oh, so some little broad wrote a book. Maybe you should find her a publisher.
Wrong, Cheryl. This is nonfiction, and it's going to be a bestseller at the DA's office.
Okay, wait a minute. She just started a few days ago.
How many people did you see?
One that I know of. A guy called Carlos. I took the call myself, and she met him at the Walden Hotel.
This guy, Carlos, you ever called here before?
Yeah, a few times. What the hell is this all about, anyway?
Sandy was killed last night.
So later on at Sandy's apartment, Stuart Whitley shows up, and I think, Tim, if I'm correct, he's dressed as a priest or something like that.
Yes, he was.
Kind of sneaking in, playing his part, being a sneaky reporter. He meets with Mr. Dyson at her apartment here. Mr. Dyson's kind of figured out, hey, you're not who you are. You're a reporter. He tells Dyson he's with the New York Times and further relates that Sandy confided in him. He wants her story, and in exchange, he will tell Dyson who killed Sandy. I think somebody's BSing somebody here.
Now at OCB, and here we see Trudy on the phone. Gina tells the team she spoke with a waiter at the Razors who confirmed Tagoro was with Carlos. Is Carlos procuring girls for Tagoro? Marty puts Trudy undercover to find out more. Later on, still at OCB, we find Gina posing as a call taker for Cheryl's service, and Crockett is just looming in the background. She takes a call from Carlos, who wants an experienced girl. She is going to send him a girl at 9 o'clock in the evening. Gina gives him Trudy's contact info. Stan, who is monitoring this and trying to get a location, actually does for one Carlos Esteban, who is living at the Bayview Motel.
So now we're at the Bayview. Tubbs and Trudy arrive there, enter Carlos's room. Tubbs calls Stan about Tagoro's whereabouts, and Stan tells him he's entering Razor's Edge as they speak. Meanwhile, Carlos tells Trudy she just entered a temple of pain. Basically, he's paying Trudy to beat him with a whip. The tables have turned, I guess. Anywho, meanwhile, Dyson shows up at the Razors Club and finds Tagoro. He mistakenly draws down on him and then shoots a bodyguard before being killed himself. Whoop. Dum-dum. Tagoro leaves and Stan enters to find a lifeless Dyson. So back at OCB, Tubbs and Marty speak with Dr. Eric, who states he's going to continue looking into more info on the Asian cuts. And just so happens, Stuart Whitley approaches Eric for a scoop about, and Tubbs approaches Eric and tells him that he works for Dirt Rag Paper. And I'm thinking, how did Eric get in OCB, let alone in the back offices? Right?
Eric, or you mean Stuart?
Stuart. I'm sorry, Stuart. How did?
Because Eric, I think, Eric was coming to follow up on his stuff.
Right, but obviously they're in the back offices at OCB. How do you just get in? I mean, again, that's why I'm saying, why was this dude just thrown in for something stupid?
I don't know.
It was just weird. Anywho, still back at OCB, Trudy takes a call from Carlos, who requests her services again. He tells Trudy she has a taste for danger. So Carlos wants to introduce her to a friend. He's going to pick her up at 11 o'clock at night. So meanwhile, Gina briefs the team about Carlos, who was a Vietnam vet and mercenary, among other things. Crockett thinks Carlos gets to play first before turning girls over to Tagoro. I guess free sample, huh? Type of thing.
Yes. Sampling and vetting them. So now in the next scene, Stuart Whitley is surveying Professor Hallowell at Hallowell's home. As the professor leaves, Stuart breaks in and finds the pictures of the dead hookers. And then as he's about to leave, the professor and Carlos show up. We quickly learn, and I think maybe this might answer, I guess, partially your question, Mark. Why was Stuart here? Because of this scene, I think that we learn that Eric Hallowell is really the murderer. Eric offers Stuart a drink. Stu promises not to say anything. Eric talks about his awakening to the agony and ecstasy, and Carlos restrains Stuart and then drags him away.
Okay, I agree with what you're saying on.
That's all I could think
on the play. I mean, it makes sense, plausible, I guess you could say. Definitely long-winded on his poetry here. I think I'm kind of jumping ahead to my review here, but if you didn't have Whitley in the story, this story could have worked somehow without having Whitley come up to Crockett outside the Justice Center and then somehow just popping up inside of OCB and then now he's here. It's just weird. Definitely, it was long-winded on Eric's poetry on how things came about. But I digress. Tim, continue on.
All right, well, later Crockett and Tubbs arrive at Trudy's motel only to be told by the desk clerk that she drove off with Carlos. Then we find Trudy with Carlos. They enter a room, and I think it's the same one as Sandy, to a camera flash, and Trudy gets the same treatment as Sandy did. The lights turn on, and we see for sure that it is Dr. Eric, who is our Asian cut guy.
Wasn't he dressed up in a kimono, or was that later on?
Well, he might have been, because it all played out at the same location, so he never left there.
So anyway, we're at OCB. Crockett, Tubbs, and Gina are waiting to hear from Stan about Trudy's whereabouts. Tubbs tossed Carlos's place and came up empty. Togaro is at an art opening, so he's all good. Stan has a file on Carlos, who worked on counterintelligence and for Air America. Crockett states he heard something recently about Air America. He grabs a book off his desk and reads over the cover insert. It was a book about the career of H.G. Hollowell. Carlos, turns out, was stationed in Laos. Did he and Hollowell know each other? Probably. Crockett comments that they have been looking at this case with their blinders on.
God, what the hell is holding up Switek?
We have every available unit looking for her.
Rico tossed Carlos's apartment. Nothing. No papers, no addresses, just a bunch of mercenary magazines. And we found Togoro. He's at an art opening. Erotic car crashes.
I got the file on Carlos. Get this. This guy was in counterintelligence after Nam. He worked for Air America. Interrogation, guns for drugs. Then he got thrown out of the agency after the church committee hearings.
The hell have I heard Air America before just recently? Yes. 10 years in counterintelligence, VP of Air America, Long Tieng, Laos. The career of H.G. Hollowell. Coincidence? Where was Carlos stationed?
Long Tieng, Laos. You think they knew each other?
So now we're at an unknown location. We find Eric showing an audience pictures of torture victims, which was the work of his mentor, James Carruthers, who understood that torture was cleansing. Later, Crockett and Tubbs arrive to search the professor's home, and they find a crucified Stuart Whitley. He got his end. They race to where Trudy is being held.
So now we are going to be back at the school. And Mark, do you got any comments about this?
Let the freak show begin. Freak.
So Eric is about to demonstrate the torture techniques known as falango on Trudy. It involves eating a person from the soles of their feet. However, he just uses a stun gun to shock her feet. Crockett and Tubbs arrive on the scene. Eric then introduces the use of a knife as his twist on this ritual. He then speaks to an audience as they now focus and turn around who this audience was. They were an audience of mannequins, and he's talking about his days in the army. Crockett and Tubbs enter. They announce themselves, and Hollowell and Carlos take off. Crockett frees Trudy and then joins Tubbs in the chase. Tubbs drops Carlos. Trudy joins the chase with a piece she got from Crockett. Hollowell returns to the classroom where Trudy draws down on him. He pleads with her that she was not a victim, but rather handpicked. He then draws down on Trudy, and she drops him with 3 shots. Crockett enters, takes the gun, and says to Trudy, "Let's go home." End of this episode.
Drop it.
Wait a minute. You're thinking of yourself as a victim. You're not, you know.
I said drop it now.
You were handpicked. You were chosen. Oh, you would have seen things. You would have understood.
All right, the rating for this episode, IMDb gives this a 7.2. Tim, what are your thoughts?
You know, Mark, this was the same rating as our last episode. I'm not sure if it merits a 7.2. But once again, we find another basic police work in which the team hunts down a sadistic killer of call girls. Another story of twists and turns in which Crockett had limited screen time. I don't know if you noticed that, Mark, but he did. What made me really like this episode was for one reason only. I loved Roy Biggins, aka his Wings days, and he's actually this was pre-Wings, as Eric Hallowell, who turned out to be the real killer, not the coke or dope dealer Tagoro. Trudy puts her life in danger as an undercover hooker who lures out the real killer. So we have undercover work, Fleabag motels, sting operations, and a college professor who was out where the buses don't run. It was sweet and to the point episode, and I like it. Once again, it was because all I could think of was Roy Biggins.
Yeah, he was good in the Wings. I liked him. And I think if you got a freak flag flying, this is your episode. Sorry about that, Tim, but more towards the end, though. I mean, it got really weird.
Yes.
What started out pretty much as a serial killer type episode turned into what could have been an avant-garde, but was really just weird for the sake of being weird episode. All the Vice team helped out in some way. I thought this would have been more Castillo-esque, being Asian kind of sort of type thing, such as in Duty and Honor, season 3, episode 15, when the Savage from his Vietnam days came about. We didn't get that. And, I'd say it's kind of a rehash, more or less, from that episode. It just turned freaky when Eric essentially getting his rocks off. Right away, I was thinking at the school at the end, it seemed weird that the audience was laughing in sync. But as we found out, it was just nothing but mannequins. Were they left over from the Evan episode?
Yeah.
But going back to the reporter, could they have taken his character out and still have done a good job, or a better job at least? I think so. Maybe Tagoro could have been the one to kill Eric here, saying, hey, I was getting blamed for all this stuff when I had nothing to do with it, so I'm going to get you now.
Yeah.
I think
they could have done. Mm-hmm.
Because Tagoro just disappeared after halfway through the episode. His part was done. I mean, yeah, okay, he was innocent as far as he wasn't where they thought he was to kill this other person. But I think he could have came back being this Asian cut. Have an Asian guy take this weirdo professor out. Anyway, thumb sideways, but a slight downturn in this type of episode. Okay, let's check out the music for this episode. Don't really have much. Tim, what do you got for us?
First song we have is Here It Is, Take It by That Petrol Emotion, which is the opening sequence at the club. Then we had Under the Milky Way by The Church, where Trudy goes to see Carlos.
And we don't have any Tim Truman music credited. Alrighty, let's check out our Goose fun facts and locations for this episode. A fun fact here, it could be argued that this episode offers Olivia Brown her best chance to show her acting range of any episode in the series. What with her brief appearance as Cookie. I think she had a kind of goofy voice like this.
Yes.
and her reaction to torture at the end.
Mark, a goof that we have is when Castillo shows Crockett the photos of the victim with symbols cut into their body, Crockett says it may be an Asian sign. Castillo replies that it's either Thai or Japanese letter. However, these two languages look totally different and there is no way they could be mistaken. Chinese and Japanese would be a better comparison. Moreover, Castillo has proven on several occasions that he knows the Thai language, such as in Golden Triangle Part 2, Duty and Honor, and Heart of the Night. And his house and customs imply he is well-versed in Far Eastern culture, making his inability to recognize the symbols even more confusing.
I kind of caught on that right away. It's like he's a feng shui type of guy. He should kind of know and have better contacts than this professor we've never heard of. We've got a location here, 1400 Ocean Drive in Miami Beach. That's where Tubbs and Switek stop Lester.
And Mark, we have a good quote here. And this was Crockett to Tagoro. I'll tell you what really excites me is the thought of you in a cell somewhere with the fathers of all the daughters that you've turned out. Now that's exciting.
That was a good one. Okay, trivia time. Our last episode, we asked, when Molus is at the hotel and everyone's eating dinner, what does he eat for dinner instead of Chinese? Well, he ate some cereal called Sugar Cats. And the next question was, what does he use instead of milk? Well, he uses what we call in the Midwest pop or soda. Tim, what do you got for this episode?
This episode's question is, when Gina's pretending to be the escort call taker, what is the phone number she gives Carlos? You can post your answers on this episode's Facebook post, or you can email us at miamivice@duck.com.
All right, mindful music time. We'd like to share a quick clip of a song that we think will send some peaceful or inspiring vibes your way. With the show, as well as our own lives, we may have many issues or stressful times that we encounter. And with these song choices, we can hopefully quiet the mind and make those issues less of an obstacle for your day. This episode's song choice comes along with the 5 points of success that Tom Bluth made at the recent Iowa State graduation. This third point is wear a hoodie. In a way of looking at this, it's being proud of who you are and where you came from or are a part of. Wear the hoodie or ball cap or wave the flag from your old school. Display the military branch patch you served in on your shoulder. Display your country's flag. In doing so, someone else may share your enthusiasm and pride and join in and make the day a little special, a little bit better. In that, and in part to kick off the college football season, I chose none other than the Iowa State University fight song performed by the Iowa State University Cyclone Football Varsity Marching Band. Enjoy and go Cyclone.
And Mark, congratulations to them on their first win against Kansas State in Dublin, Ireland.
Oh yeah, week 0. What a game.
So thanks to all of you for tuning into the Vice of Miami podcast. We hope you enjoyed our look into the world of Miami Vice. If you loved what you heard, please leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. It really helps us out. Don't forget to follow us on social media for updates and more Miami Vice goodness. You can find us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at the Vice of Miami podcast. Our next episode, number 104, which covers episode 8, Hard Knocks. Until next time, stay stylish and keep the Vice alive. Now,
You talk bribes with me, pal.